Since we're still in the comics genre,
Hmm.
we're gonna go to I guess Eastern comics. No, sorry, Eastern, Western
Western.
comics.
Hmm.
Favorite writers or artists?
I living, dead,
All time,
current,
my friend.
all time. Dwayne McDuffie.
Static Shock.
Static Shock, all of Milestone. Milestone was and still is ahead of its time. I still think comics are trying to catch up to Milestone today. Still, Dwayne McDuffie was an absolute genius, and I just, his work is so good. Was so good. I just, I wish there was more. I wish there was more we could get. I like Bendis. I know a lot of people have trepidations about Bendis. They have their opinions about Bendis, but I've never ever been unsatisfied with anything Bendis that I've picked up. Never ever. So I like Bendis. I mean, he gave us Miles. He gave us Riri Williams. He went to DC and then gave us Naomi. I mean, like, and Teen Lantern. I'm a fan of Bendis. And I mean, he just has a good he has a good hand for comedic writing. Everything he writes, especially his Spider-Man, his takes on Spider-Man. Every time he's done a Spider-Man run, it's always actually literally made me laugh out loud. His takes on Iron Man have actually literally made me laugh out loud. Big fan of Bendis. I like Brian K. Vaughan. Saga is a great comic to follow. It's so good. And Brian K. Vaughan did the first Runaways when that was a thing. When that was out, it's out now, but he did the first when it launched. He was the writer for Runaways. Who else is there? Who does Rick Remender? He does Deadly Class. Deadly Class is like a really great book. So I'm a fan of Remender. He also did the first, I think, volume of Captain America when Captain America when Falcon became Captain America, the all new Captain America. So I like Rick Remender. Is that it? The only ones I can think of? Tom King. Tom King's good. Tom Taylor is good. Tom Taylor's great, actually. He did all of Injustice, the comic book tie-in for Injustice, which is an incredible read. Yeah, that's what I can think of right now, off the top of my head.
No, actually, it kind of tied into my next question because I was going to ask, have you because I knew that you were a big Marvel Comics fan, but I was going to ask, have you read anything from Image, Vertigo, or indie comic publishers? And you clearly just listed, obviously, Deadly Class.
Yeah.
Saga, I mean, you're a big fan of Bendis. Have you read Powers?
I have. I read the first volume of Powers. I didn't get very far in Powers. I tried watching the series.
Oh, no.
Powers. I know. I was like, this is different. I've read the first volume of Powers. I think I have volume 2 laying around there somewhere collecting dust. And he had this comic out called Brilliance. That's kind of, I think it was a little after Powers or in between Powers, but it was really fascinating, and I wish it went farther than what it did.
Was that the one he did with Mark Bagley Jr. as well?
I think so. It was about those college kids, and they invented superpowers.
I want to say yes. I think I read the first volume of that, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think that only has one, and it just never went beyond that.
Okay.
But it was incredibly fascinating, and I wanted more.
No, I mean, right now on my shelf, I have because now they've started re-releasing Powers again through his Jinx World publisher.
Yeah.
And I have book 7 is coming later on this month, and that's the final book. And then November is the final chapter. I mean, it's the final story with Christian Walker from the series, the main character. So.
Yeah.
I went on a craze and just started ordering a bunch of comic books and stuff like that.
I do that sometimes too. I started buying the collections of the IDW Ninja Turtles.
Oh, nice.
It's so good. IDW, I hope in the next iteration of Turtles that it kind of follows the IDW comics. I know that's very difficult for animation to do in the current animation kind of structure, but I would love to see an animated form of this kind of darker, more, this kind of darker, I don't want to say more adult, but this darker kind of take on the Turtles' story and their lives and their adventures,
So when it originally came out.
And when, yeah, exactly. Like when it originally dropped, and when turtles were cursing and saying the D word, that'd be cool. But yeah, like the IDW Turtles series is dope, and I've been trying to catch up.
Have you read Preacher by Garth Ennis?
I haven't read Preacher, but I hear nothing but good things about Preacher.
It's a
I
messed
think
up
like
series, but it's great.
I'm sure because Saga's messed up too, but I'm pretty sure Preacher's like way more like.
Oh, absolutely, way
yeah,
over the top. I mean, there's also Transmetropolitan by Warren Ellis. I would recommend that series as well.
Okay.
Fables by Bill Willingham.
Fables, because I played The Wolf Among Us, and apparently The Wolf Among Us for the Telltale game is like
Based off of Fables.
prequel. Yeah, it's based off of Fables. I also want to read Black Superpowers. That's a comic that I've been wanting to get into for I don't know what's taking me so long. I'm trying to get more into Lion Forge, so like Noble, and I know Brilliant is it Brilliant? I know what's his name? There's an artist that I like, and he's involved. I can't think of the name right now, and I don't know if I'm gonna spend any more brain power on it.
It's all good, dude.
But yeah, like comics are so many. There's so much out there. Oh, you know what? One of my favorites is who's the dude that did Scott Pilgrim? What's his name? Brian Lee O'Malley.
So Lost at Sea.
Yes, Lost at Sea. Lost at Sea made me cry. Brian Lee O'Malley, Scott Pilgrim is amazing, and Seconds is great. I've read all this stuff.
I've only read Scott Pilgrim. I actually just recently, earlier this year, got the box set, the color box set for it.
Yeah, I want it in color so bad.
Well, the color box set that they sold, I read some of the reviews. People were like, actually, you left out the extra stuff that came with the hardcovers. And I'm like, yeah, they did. But I was like, I got the original Scott Pilgrim thing, so it's all good. It's in color. I'm not going to complain about the extra chapters that were left out that weren't part of the main story.
Right. And if it's still available, I kind of still want to get the original black and white box set because it had that cool, like, spread of all the characters in 8-bit on the back of that.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading. I mean, I remember seeing that photo.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You stated in an interview that you would like to create comics. Are there any particular genres or themes that you would want to dive into?
Yes. And wow, for you knowing that. You really did your research.
I have.
I did have a hankering to create comics, and I think it's still in there somewhere within me. Writing is just incredibly difficult. But I would definitely like to explore, like, themes of kind of humanity and existentialist, ideals. I had this one idea of, like, all these people, like, and I just kind of just want to make, like, I don't know, just, like, kind of stories that I would read, like, really cool stories, like, what if you took super powered people and locked them all away on a colony in space, and like the main character wants to see Earth. Like, imagine somebody who's never seen Earth before, how that person would operate, how the person would interact with other people, and how he would interact upon seeing the Earth. So I don't know what exactly that would quantify, but maybe one day I'll get around to it. I'd also like to, like, make Superboy, like a black Superboy. I think that was
going to be my next question. What would your take on Superboy be if you had full control?
Yeah, I'd definitely make him black, but he'd be like from Vothlo Island. So I actually looked this up. On Krypton, there was a place called Vothlo Island where there were, like, black Kryptonians, and I was like, why aren't there more? So apparently Val Zod in Earth 2 is a descendant from someone from Vothlo Island, but I would do Superboy, like, and it would be kind of cool to, like, I don't know, just kind of do a take on Superboy, and, like, I would definitely, like, write that with undertones of, like, race, and, like, would people see Superboy as much of a hero, if he's black, or, like, how would he operate? Clark Kent operates a specific way because of his upbringing. How would a kid with Clark Kent's power set in an upbringing, in maybe a less fortunate circumstance than Clark Kent, or a different circumstance than Clark Kent, and even a different circumstance than Connor, like, how would that influence a person? How would a Kryptonian from Vothlo Island who's never heard of racism experience racism on Earth, where racism is a thing? And, racism probably might have been a thing in Krypton. Why are all those black people on Vothlo Island? But, like, what that would be like. That'd be interesting for me.
So, I know that you're a big fan of Donald Glover to the point that you've emulated his Lando Calrissian voice for Lego Star Wars.
Yes,
What
yes.
is it about Donald Glover that draws you to him?
And I think that kind of just the more you ask me about like stuff that draws me to them, a lot of things that draw me to things is like seeing myself or somebody who's like me. You know what I mean? Like the thing that I think drew me the most to Donald Glover is that not only did I see myself in him, but it kind of also felt like he made me feel like I wasn't alone in a lot of the things that I had felt like, growing up. And like, I mean, like I I dabbled in rap, right? And I played a friend of mine my song, and he was like, "You rap like this dude, Childish Gambino." I was like, "Who's that?" And then I looked up Childish Gambino, and the song I found was "Freaks and Geeks." And I don't know, like I feel like me and him kind of had the same aesthetic. We kind of had the same mannerisms, or we used to, like back when he was younger. And there was something about him that just drew me to him. And I kind of did rap like him. So like, and then I just started watching Community and like looking up his interviews and just kind of him talking about his struggles with himself and like accepting himself and being himself and like a lot of the stuff that he talks about in his music relate to all like things that I have felt, or personally experienced, or have went through, or have thought about in my own personal life. Like directly, like almost like this dude must have lived my life because he's speaking on something that I relate to so much. When he did that thing where he like wrote all of his fears on that letter, I mean, on those papers in that hotel, and I was like, oh my god, like this dude is like literally me. I think just that's kind of what it was. And then on top of that, being so talented at everything, it kind of gave me something to look up to. Like, wow, he's so good and he did it. Like I could do it. Like I should do that. Like if I put in the work and the effort and the time, just like he did, like maybe I'll be just as good. I think that was just kind of what a lot of what it was, is like making me feel like I was less alone in the things that I went through, and also like being someone who's just incredibly talented at what they do, and kind of idolizing how I could even be a glimmer of as talented as that.
Have you met him or reached out to him?
I almost met him once. I went to the Deep Web tour, and it was my first concert ever. And this couple walked outside, and they gave me and the person I went with backstage passes, and it was crazy. It was like, that was literally God, like literally just, here you go. Because we went, and then we had left the building, and we're like, okay, I guess it's time to go home. Like, that was cool. It was fun. It was amazing. It was a life-changing experience. And this couple comes out like, hey, do you guys want backstage passes? And we were like, yes. And the backstage pass was a pass to meet Donald. And so we walked down into this kind of waiting area, but as we past the hallway to get to the waiting area, I literally could see him like in the other room talking with a fan. And I was just kind of sitting there in line, like we're all in line, like waiting, like, oh my God. And I'm just like kind of freaking out, like, what am I going to say? Like, what am I going to do? Like what, like kind of thinking about, what to say. And like, it was my turn. I was next.
Oh no.
And the bouncer goes, that's it. That was the last one. And I'm like, no. It was honestly kind of heartbreaking.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all good. It just wasn't meant to happen at that particular time. But it was cool, like, to like be even that close to someone you admire, like to like look at them and be like, they're a real flesh and blood person just like me. So that was cool. Friends of mine have met him, just like, oh, I saw him at Amoeba once. I was like, oh my God, like I'm doing all this work and you just run into him at Amoeba. But yeah.
Favorite songs by him?
Ooh, this is okay. Flight of the Navigator, Bonfire, Sweatpants, What Kind of Love, Earn. Earn is a perfect song. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that song other than the fact that it's like a minute.
So short. Yeah. That is actually my favorite song by Childish Gambino as well.
It's probably it's probably my favorite. It's something I could listen to it for hours. It's a perfect song. It's so good. It's so good. Earn. I like Redbone. And there's this new song on the new album that he did at the This Is America tour called Spirits, and that song's probably gonna be one of my favorites as well once that album comes out.
Okay. Favorite videos?
The Sweatpants Earn video, I
Yes.
think it transitions to Earn.
Yes, it does.
That that's one of my favorite videos. I love Freaks and Geeks. It's simplicity. It's my intro, so like I feel like I always have to like call back to that one. Sober. He doesn't have many.
He only has
Actually,
a few. I think it's about
yeah,
like less than 10. Definitely less than
um,
10.
I don't know if maybe not Sober. I do like Sober, but I don't know if I like it as much as I like the other ones I mentioned. And which one's the one when he transformed into the creature?
Telegraph.
Yeah, Telegraph Ave. Yeah.
Yeah. Oakland.
Oh. I think like those three are probably my faves.
So, what were your thoughts on This Is America? What did you take
Incredible.
away from it?
Life changing. I mean, every time I've seen him perform, it's life changing experience. There's nothing that I love more than experiencing World Star live. World Star live it's a different energy when it's live than when you hear it in the album. I loved it. I loved every second of it. It felt very much like a great send off to his final, quote unquote, his final tour. The only thing that I'm upset about is that he's selling all this exclusive merch at other places he's performing, merch that I would have definitely paid for if it was available at This Is America tour, that I can't get because it's exclusive to those locations, those places only. So, but I loved it. I thought that it was amazing.
What did you take away from the video, though?
Oh, This Is America video?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much like the horse like being the symbol for the pale rider, like death. There was a lot of like that in the video. I think it was just kind of a symbol for like kind of like trends, and kind of like how America is a culture based country, and so like he's dancing and doing kind of all this upbeat stuff, and then all of a sudden murdering like someone, which I think is kind of representative of like a metaphor for like America, like America, in the hustle and bustle of capitalism, we're always getting ads kind of pushed in our faces, culture, TikTok, Instagram, social media, everybody's moving, and on the surface everybody's supposed to be kind of happy and upbeat because but underneath all of that, America is murdering people, scandals and corruption is underneath all of that, police brutality, black people being unarmed black people being killed for no reason, people being killed for no reason, people getting kidnapped, you know what I mean? Like all of that is underneath the happy face that America wants to present itself as. And I think that's kind of what the video was trying to do with like the juxtaposition with, Donald dancing with all these kids and then like killing people and then going back to dancing after, killing people. It's like business as usual,
I got the same vibe from that. I also, from what I took away from it was like the latest dance moves was used as a distraction from like what was really
actually
going on in the background. Because
Yeah.
When that video came out, I think last year, I think it was May 5th. I think it was actually on Cinco de Mayo when it came out. When that came out, what I liked about it was that it was starting to encourage discussion amongst people.
Right.
Like, what's this video about? Because obviously, as you know, that Donald still, from what I understand, refuses to this day to talk about the video, like what's it supposed to mean. I like the fact that he's leaving it up for people to come up with their own interpretations. But people were like having discussions and stuff, like what's it supposed to mean, and they're examining stuff. And then less than a week later, we are already distracted by the next new thing. I was like, that was a moment in time that we could have actually taken the time to sit down and start examining ourselves. But I guess it just seems like we would rather be distracted instead of taking the time to actually realize what's really going on, And I just thought it was an an excellent video. The song by itself, I'm like, it's okay. But when it's paired with the video, I think it's genius. I mean, like with that part when he was dancing, he was like, that's a celly, that's a tool. And then they scan up and they see those kids with masks on, but they're like filming everything. I was like, that's what it seems like a lot of people like to do nowadays. It's just film instead of actively
getting involved.
Yes. You know, and it's just I just thought it was a wonderful video, and
absolutely,
it's just too bad that nothing massive came of it. And I wouldn't necessarily expect it to, but I was just disappointed in society that we started having a discussion about something because obviously it was viral, and then we went on to the next thing with it less than a week later.
And that's probably what he expects. You know, it's probably what he expected to happen. That's probably why he didn't bother explaining. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably coming from places of, do you guys really care enough to listen to what this is about? And that could be like also kind of just like like you said, like kind of what the song's talking about in itself is indicative of that the song is kind of true, because you get distracted, you know, by the next big thing.
For sure. So a final question on Donald Glover. So what were your thoughts on the theory about the videos from Because the Internet are a reference to Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
It's probably true. It's probably true. Like,
did you ever hear that theory?
I don't think I have.
Because it starts with Worst Guys. And
oh, you know what? I did hear that theory because he's bleeding. And then I do remember this theory. I do remember this theory, though.
And if that's true, if that's the way he set it up, I think that's rather genius of him. And
that's why I say I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it's probably true. I think it's true. I think even if it's not Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I feel like there is a definite link, and all the pieces are jumbled, and he just kind of leaves stuff there for you to pick apart. Did you ever read the script for Because the Internet?
I did not read the 72-page script.
So I read the script because that's just the kind of person that I am. That's just how much of a fanatic that I am. But he hid. Okay, have you listened to Kauai?
Yes. Yeah, that was a split. It was
Stone Mountain and Kauai.
Yes.
So in Kauai, there's a 3005 Paradise Beach version, which is an instrumental. He hid the vocals for that song in the code of the script of Because the Internet. And somebody put those together because there was a secret track in the script. And when you played it, nothing happened. And then you have to go into the code and then find the link to the lyrics, and then you put the lyrics to that track from Kauai, and that together is the secret track the secret track from the script. That's the kind of person Donald Glover is. Like, that's the kind of artist he is, which is just incredibly mind-blowing to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, the videos from Because the Internet were also a reference to Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No, I would definitely say it's a genius move. And speaking of genius, when you rapped as Genius with Raw Dre...
Oh my God. No one has ever brought that up. That's hilarious.
Did you identify with the nerdcore genre?
I did. I definitely did. And if you listen to any of those songs...
I listened to all of your albums and EPs.
Really? Oh my God. Wait. What did you think?
Well, I like the fact that all of your albums, EPs, and singles had numerous nerdy references, and some of the songs had video game beats. On your track, Oob, one of my favorite lines by you was, "Why do I stay blue like John Osterman?" Because I had to pause the track because that was a deep dive reference to the Watchmen comic.
Yeah,
you know?
That's dope. That's crazy. I'm very flattered and very honored that you even went so far to do this. Not only listen, but know a lyric that I wrote.
That took some deep diving to find that, you know. And I was like, okay, is that project now gone, or is that going to come back at some point?
It's pretty gone.
Okay, that's
fair. It's pretty done. If I were to ever dabble into music again, it would be different than any of that. Not too different, but it would be different for sure. Just because I think I've changed and grown and evolved as a person, and I feel like so would my art as well. But that era for me was definitely definitely a nerdcore. That's kind of what I was about, and that's kind of what I talked about, or it's kind of what I like. It was just fun. It was like fun. It was just a fun time for me to write and be creative in a way outside of acting.
Did you listen to nerdcore hip hop?
Not really. I think my only experiences with nerdcore hip hop would be like maybe I'd like run into a song on SoundCloud from somebody who would do a reference, or like, Donald Glover or Childish Gambino, but
Okay.
not heavy nerdcore like I was rapping about.
Oh no, there is a whole world out there that you
Really?
should. There's definitely some artists you should check out for sure.
I'm with it.
Like
down.
Megaran. I would highly recommend Megaran.
Okay.
Who happened to be the person who had the fan questions for you?
Really?
Yes.
Megaran.
Like
I actually might have heard of Megaran. Like Mega Man,
but with Ran, I mean, like he has a Guinness Book of World Records for like the most songs about the same subject, i.e., Mega Man. He's awesome. He like tours constantly. He's blowing up more and more. He did a whole album on Final Fantasy called Black Materia.
I might have listened to Black Materia.
Well, they're actually doing a remake for next year's Final Fantasy VII remake release. But no, I would highly recommend Mega Ran. I mean, like his Forever Famicom album is dope. His RNDM or Random album, which isn't really nerdcore. It has nerdcore influences, but it's like talking about other stuff. His Nocturnal Cantata album, which is about Castlevania Symphony of the Night. He also has a lit hop album with
nice.
MC Lars called the Dewey Decibel System. I mean, Megaran is just dope, and like I reached out to him because he had been watching Cannon Busters. So I was like, "Hey, do you have any questions for Zeno Robinson?"
That's awesome.
So yes, that was the person I was alluding to, and I would highly recommend his music.
Heck yeah.
Oh, when you were doing hip hop yourself, did you have any influential beat makers or favorite beat makers?
My friends. So I rapped with a group of my friends as well, and so we just kind of made instrumentals for like each other. We made beats for each other and kind of rapped on each other's beats, and took samples out for each other and things like that. And so a friend of, mostly just kind of friends like in that circle. I think like anything like outside of that, there's a couple of SoundCloud producers that I really liked. Like I really like Just X. But are you talking about for me personally, or just like in general?
Just in general, like your favorite beat makers and stuff like that.
Oh well, yeah, like Just X. I like Jay Dilla. I was introduced to Jay Dilla when I was doing that, so Jay Dilla is amazing. I like, who's the dude who produces Boy Wonder? Does like a lot of Drake stuff. All of his beats are excellent. J. Cole produces a lot of his stuff, and he's great too. Yeah, Flying Lotus.
Okay,
Flying Lotus is amazing, and it just not even just for rapping, just for listening to as well, which is something I really really appreciate about his production. Yeah.
Now I liked his station on Grand Theft Auto 5. So, are you familiar with the NPC Collective, the Nerdy People of Color Collective?
I am not. I'm not.
Well, that's a group that Megaran had started, and it's basically a collective of artists, musicians, and I would definitely say people in the entertainment industry. And they're going around trying to bring representation to conventions and to events and stuff like that.
Oh, dope.
And I think it's pretty cool. It's quite a lot of musicians as well. Like I mentioned, Megaran, a rapper named Samus. She's loosely affiliated with Nerdcore, but that's not all that she's about. It's Samus with two M's. I mean, she definitely writes a lot of songs about black empowerment, being nerdy and black and stuff like that. Like her Infusion album and her Pieces in Space albums, they're amazing. And she makes all her own beats. She's just dope.
That's tight.
Kyle Murdoch, or K Murdoch, he's a great beat maker and stuff like that. He used to be in this group called Panacea back in the day. They're still around.
Oh, cool.
Rapper IQ, he wrote a whole album.
Oh, really?
He wrote a whole album about Attack on Titan called Wall Maria,
Ooh. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I would definitely highly recommend checking out all the albums I listed. I know I'm just throwing so much at you, and the NPC Collective.
Nah, it's dope. I'm writing it down.
I'll gladly email you that stuff.
Oh, please do. Yeah, that'd be dope.
Over.
Yeah.
So, final topic of this interview:
Okay.
video games.
Yeah.
Now, I know that some of the games you've enjoyed were Persona 3, Uncharted, Last of Us, and Hyper Light Drifters, along with the Kingdom Hearts series.
Good at what you do. You are so good. Yes.
Thank you.
True.
Any all-time favorites, or did I just list them?
You probably just listed them all. Kingdom Hearts is like my childhood. Kingdom Hearts, it was a very, very formulative game for me. It almost not single hand, but it shaped a lot of who I am today. Uncharted, yeah, The Last of Us. You kind of just the favorites of all times. Those are kind of a lot of them. The World Ends With You is one that I don't see myself really getting tired of. Yeah, Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh,
that was an incredible game that is still one of the best games I've played today. All time favorite. I'll never get tired of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Sonic Adventure 2 is probably one of the best Sonic games ever. Yeah, I mean, you Kingdom Hearts, Uncharted, Last of Us.
So, with that being said, then what was your favorite game in the Kingdom Hearts series?
2.
I agree.
To be honest, I haven't even broke open 3. I bought 3, and I've heard so much stuff about it that I just think my inner child can't bring myself to play 3 yet. And I've been like really busy, and I think when I play 3, I just kind of really want to focus on it. But it's been sitting on my PlayStation just since I bought it, and I bought it like the day it came out, and like I haven't even popped it in my PlayStation yet. So maybe one day. I doubt it will top 2, just based off of what I heard. And I played like the first hour at a friend's house. But yeah, 2 is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I won't say anything on my thoughts on 3 yet until I find someone who's actually finished the game. And I don't want to spoil it for people, and I certainly don't want to spoil it for you. But I will agree that 2 is pretty solid.
2 is great. It's hard to top Kingdom Hearts 2.
Were there any games that you felt were underrated?
Jet Set Radio Future, definitely underrated. Dang it, what? Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game?
Off of the PlayStation Network. I have that on the PS3.
It's such a good game. Oh, Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush and Gravity Rush 2, I think, are 2 incredibly underrated games. I know they have like their fan bases, but like Gravity Rush is one of the most inventive, fun games I've played. And I'm just like, why are more people talking about this? You know, when I play that. And like Kat's kind of someone of color. It's like kind of ambiguous, but like, you know, she's not a typical protagonist that you see. So that's a game that like kind of always sticks out to me. It's like, yeah, like I feel like more people should have played this game.
That's how I feel about Puppeteer for the PlayStation 3.
Really? I don't think I've ever played Puppeteer.
Well, it was backed by Sony of Japan, and the whole game is designed to, including graphics, to look like a puppet show. So you'll actually, there's a stage present on the game at all times, and you can hear, and like the curtains will close, and then you'll see things move in the background to simulate movement and stuff like that. And it was just amazing, and I just think it didn't do too well because I don't think even Sony got behind it. And like during like parts of the game, like the audience that you never see, because you're sitting in the role of the audience, like they'll cheer, they'll laugh.
What? That's crazy. That's dope.
It was a great game for the PS3. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can still find it on the network. I would highly, highly recommend it. And like at first it seems like a kid's game, but like the story behind it is actually quite sad and deep, you know? Would recommend.
I'll check it out. Puppeteer. Yeah.
Best video game soundtracks for you?
Hyper Light Drifter has such a good soundtrack. It's done by Disaster Piece, and it's a very like synth tranquil sound, which is really good. Fury, which is the character designer for Afro Samurai, designed a bunch of characters for this kind of sci-fi boss rush game called Fury. The soundtrack to that is really good too. If I'm not mistaken, it's something Carpenter. Brooks, Carpenter, Flux, Carpenter, Brooks, something
Carpenter
like that.
Brute?
Yes, Carpenter Brute.
I've seen them before. I've seen them perform.
Yeah. They did the soundtrack to Fury, the game, and it's incredible. It's so dope. It's so hype. It's so good. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Like, Sonic Adventure 2 had a great soundtrack. I don't care what anybody says. What else? I think that's it from what I have for me.
Obviously, you like video game soundtracks and stuff like that. Do you like
I do.
video game cover groups?
I haven't heard any yet. There's always a cover group outside of Anime Expo that I really like. I don't remember their names. I get reminded every time I go, and then I forget every time. But I haven't heard a lot of them. Oh, you know what else is a good video game soundtrack? Oh, and another all-time favorite, Earthbound. Earthbound is so freaking good. Oh my god. I don't know if I've Earthbound and Super Mario RPG. I don't even know why I skipped over those two very incredible, very instrumental games in my life. like, and I'm pretty sure there's like one or two GameCube games that I just haven't said, like Mystic Heroes.
Can I make a recommendation for you?
Yes.
All right, so there's this group called Super Soul Bros, and they did a whole Earthbound cover.
I've heard of
a
them.
whole Earthbound album, actually.
I think they were one of the guys. They did a concert at Anime Expo, and I wanted to go really bad, but I couldn't go for like time reasons or something. But I definitely will check them out because I love Earthbound and I love Earthbound's music as well. And I forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about video game soundtracks.
Soundtracks, yeah.
But no, the thing is, like, I think because I go to this one convention every year now called MagFest, short for Music and Gaming Fest. It's a music festival centered around video game music. So they literally bring in acts and artists from around the world to do covers of video game soundtracks in numerous genres or music inspired by video games. And they also bring out composers of soundtracks that come out.
Dope.
MagFest 10, they had Nobuo Uematsu from the Final Fantasy series come out.
Their Final Fantasy has such good music.
I want to say in 2018, I think they had Sonic Adventure 2's composer come out and perform with a backup group.
Oh, that's tight. Heck yeah. You Crush 40, the guy who did like all of the Sonic openings, I guess you could call them, for like all the Sonic games. He's amazing. His band is great. And Yoko Shimomura is a good one too. She did like Super Mario RPG. She did all of Kingdom Hearts. Incredible. I mean, Kingdom Hearts is such good music.
Nice. So final two questions in the video game topic, and then we're wrapping this interview up, which I've been thoroughly enjoying.
Yeah, I've been having fun too.
What upcoming games are you looking forward to?
The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 for sure. I love The Last of Us, the first one. I've been waiting for the second one, and I am super excited. I am so incredibly excited. That might be it. It might just be The Last of Us 2. I'm trying to think if there's any other games that I'm like super looking forward to.
Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Yes, I am looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but like to be completely transparent, I've never played the first one, so I feel like the reason why I may not necessarily be as hyped as I could have been is because I've never experienced the Final Fantasy story, at least the Final Fantasy VII story. You know what else game was underrated? Now I'm all over the place. But Crystal Chronicles, and I'm glad it's coming back. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles was such a great game, such a great party game. But anyway, I've never played 7. I played Dissidia and all the Dissidias, but I've never played 7. I've played 10 and 10-2, 11, I think, and 13. So I'm excited because it looks good. It looks really, really good and fun, but I don't know. Like when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that'll be cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I have to get it. I'm just like, yeah, like I will definitely play that when it comes out.
Fair enough. Why do you want Geno in Super Smash Bros. So bad?
I don't know why I didn't expect this question coming because you're just so good at what you do. Because Geno freaking deserves it. Because Geno, as opposed to all of his competition, has withstood the test of time. He was in a game that was so iconic, so well done, and so memorable that people 20 years after its release still want to see that character. Even in some way, shape, or form. Just Smash would be the best, most effective, and probably easiest way to do that. Geno is a incredibly interesting, unique, complex character. He would bring something fresh, I think, to the roster, being a puppet. He's not a human. He's, effectively genderless, even though he probably is just is the pronouns to refer him to be would be a he. But and also his story is he's a star with who's just housing in the body of the puppet. His moveset would be incredibly unique based off of all of his attacks from Super Mario RPG. It's a great, culmination of Nintendo and Square Enix, which they're on pretty good terms now with the Dragon Quest series. I just think Geno is like the perfect choice. And what better way to listen to your fans who have been literally asking for this character. Sakurai wanted him in the game, like who've been asking for this character for years, and by putting him in the last one in the series, especially now as the 5th DLC character. What a way to to put a ribbon on that. It's just a great character. He's so cool. So cool. And he's like Mario in his world on the Star Road. He deserves it. I think he deserves it just for the sheer fact that his fans alone from a game from 20 years ago have kept him alive today without him being in any other game since then.
I mean, I know from what I understand they did his skin for him, but I heard that there's a rumor that he will be an upcoming character.
I believe it.
Don't quote me on that, but I heard.
I believe it now, especially because they just announced that they were doing more DLC characters outside of the 5 and the Fighter Pass. I'm like, oh, he's coming. My Star Boy is coming. I'm about to main Geno and get really good because I've been waiting for this like literally for like half my life. So
that's most excellent. Final 3 questions. What is new that you would like to talk about that you were allowed to promote?
That I'm allowed to promote. There's this French animated show called Team Dronix. It's going to be airing in France starting October 19th.
Okay.
In the English dub of that show, which is interesting because we recorded it like prelay style, which is like without matching flaps. So they animated it to our mouth. So I don't know how they dubbed it. I don't know if they dubbed over our English or if they just animated the mouths differently in both languages. But I play Buck Rocket in that show. So that's done by Technicolor Animation. They did the animation for Sonic Boom. So I'm in that, and that'll be cool. That'll be fun. It was a fun, challenging show to work on.
If people wanted to find you online, where could they go?
At Childish Gambino. It's all my social media handles, and I'm still working on putting up a workable website.
And final question, what would you like to say to your fans throughout all the years?
I'm incredibly blessed to be here, and I'm incredibly blessed to have you. I love you all, and thank you so much. If you're a fan, for supporting me, for being a fan, and I'm doing my best to grow as an artist every day. So hopefully I can continue to bring more art and more things to all of you as the reason you guys are here. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world. I'm incredibly blessed.
Well, Zeno, thank you so much for granting me this interview.
Thank you for granting me this interview.
Well, folks, this is Joe from My Geek Scene. I'm here with Zeno Robinson. Take it easy.
Peace out.